Oh, how are you?
I'm great. How about yourself?
I'm doing fine, Donna. Nice seeing you again.
Too.
Hello.
And while we're waiting, if you two want to go ahead and put your information, your name and information in the chat, that would be great.
Hey, Donna, this is my first meeting with this one. What information,
So
council, please?
just your name and if you want to leave your email and what organization you're with.
Got you. Okay, cool.
And it's 2 o'clock, but we'll still wait a few more minutes to let some folks join us. Hey, Jeff.
Hey everyone, how you doing?
Good. How about you?
I'm good. It's almost Friday.
Yep.
It's almost a long weekend, even better.
Yes. Yeah, we're just waiting for a few more folks to join us before we get started. Dennis Jarman, I see you on the call.
Miss Donna, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm hanging in here. I guess that's
Okay.
the best way to put it. You know, you when you're used to human touch and now you're zooming all the time, it sort of changes the way that you look at life. But we're good. We're good. How about you?
All is well. Can't complain.
You
Yep.
know what they say, if you can't, don't. Good to see you.
Yeah, glad you're on the call.
I'm trying to get this camera thing working here in a second here. This looks like it's having an issue. Maybe I'll jump out and jump back in and see if that corrects it.
Okay.
Okay.
And for those of you who are just joining us, if you can go ahead and put your name, what organization you're with, and the contact, that would be great.
You want that in the chat?
Yes.
There we go. Cool.
All right. Okay, we'll wait one more minute and then we'll go ahead and get started. And y'all don't be shy. You can drop your email. We're not gonna send you a whole bunch of emails back to back. So feel free to put your email address in there too. We just want to keep you informed about what's going on with the Wake LRC as well as the Employment Committee. So don't be shy. All right, so good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Wake LRC Employment Subcommittee meeting. I'm so happy to see a few new faces here. I'm glad you all could be with us this afternoon for just 1 hour, and we really appreciate your time. My name is Donna Farrar, and I'm the Reentry Case Manager here with Wake LRC, if you're meeting me for the first time. And we usually have Melinda Todd with us as well. She's the Strategic Initiatives Director, but she's on vacation right now on the West Coast having a good time. But she'll be with us the next time. And so at this time, since recently the employment subcommittee, we're just like getting started and getting our feet wet and getting ready to get this work going. And so we have recently I guess, confirmed, or we had 2 volunteers step up to the plate to help out with the employment subcommittee. So we have Jeff Sakharov, and we also have Dominique Goodman, who will be our employment subcommittee co-chair. So they'll be working together, kicking off the meetings and that sort of thing. And I'll just be here as support staff. So I just wanted to let you all know that. And I guess I'm putting you on the spot, Jeff, but would you like to say hello to everyone?
Hello, everyone.
And say, why you joined the committee.
I am teasing. I'm teasing. Yes, it's a pleasure meeting all of you. I am thrilled to be a part of this organization. This is obviously new for me. I've been a career counselor working in higher ed for about 20 years. I'm working with students, mostly at NC State and UNC, with all career development related things, from career exploration to resumes, to interviewing, job searching, networking, putting on career events, working with employers. So this seemed like a natural kind of segue in an area for me to get involved, using some of hopefully the things I already know, and then leveraging all the great resources and knowledge you folks have, and hopefully helping to create some impact events.
Thank you. And Dominique, would you like to say a couple words?
Oh, you're muted.
So hi again. Dominique. Some people just call me Dom. But I am a military brat. They retired in North Carolina, so North Carolina is my home, allegedly. But I'll take it because I'm an Aggie as well, so it's North Carolina forever. And I moved out to Arizona because I woke up one day and decided I wanted to be English professor at HBCU. And long story short, I was involved in a car accident that I got blamed for, that I ended up signing a plea for, that I was not guilty of, and still served a 5-year sentence in prison. So I immediately had issues with that, because I was like, how did I end up in prison? Like, this was supposed to happen. And just because of that, that's why I do a lot of the things that I do now. So just through different research and doing like paralegal studies and even providing messaging for others. I was able to do a TED Talk while I was there, just to kind of expand like outside of like the common things people think about when it comes to incarceration. And a lot of people, once they get out, they need a lot of assistance. And there's a lot of people that see a lot of organizations that say they're going to help, but they're not actually providing the true need that actually changes anything. And so, yeah, they're just, I just wanted to become more supportive in the role of, helping people after they get out of from incarceration as well, because I took a couple hits, and so maybe my hits can alleviate someone else's hits. And as I continue to grow like my foundation and work with other organizations that I work for, I just hope I'm able to just leverage and access more resources. And yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Thank you. And we're glad to have you both. So happy to again be able to have you all here with us today. And so we'll just jump out. Well, actually, I'm sorry if my background is a little loud because I'm working in the career center and there's other people around just in case you hear anyone. And so I'll go ahead and pull up the PowerPoint and we'll get started. All right. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen? Thank you. Okay, so just as a recap, we started a few sessions back talking about some different priorities that we wanted to address when it comes to employment and assisting folks with getting a job. And so we had several, as you can see, different action items on here about some of the things that we wanted to do, like have resume workshops, getting people ready for employment, as well as some other things here, lots of information that we wanted to do. And so out of those conversations, we decided recently to discuss a career fair planning of what we could do with that. So out of all of these tasks, the first one that we're going to focus on today is how can we organize and host a virtual or in-person reentry job fair? And from that point on, I'll let Jeff and Dominique lead the conversation in that.
Sure. Thanks, Anna. So Dominique and I have had several conversations about ways that we want to kind of kick this off, and knowing that there's a lot of different competing priorities, and knowing that there's a lot we don't know in terms of what's been done and what's been successful. We really want to leverage the knowledge of this group as guidance in terms of what makes sense for what a career fair event would look like. Obviously, we're hopefully coming out of COVID, and this year has been tremendously difficult on everyone, and it's had a big impact on employment across the board for employers and job seekers. And so, ultimately decided we thought this would be a good kind of first initiative for us to get the ball rolling on. And, really just wanted to have an open, brief discussion about, if we were to do an event like this, what from this group's experience and knowledge base, what has worked, what have been some of the challenges or blind spots, and what are some areas that we can maybe improve upon to try to put on an event hopefully sometime this year. Nothing's been decided yet, but again, we wanted to kind of come to you all and have this initial conversation about what your thoughts were and where we might kind of begin to put this together and leverage the resources we have. And Dominique, please cut me off or just say something.
No, I was like, I'll jump in when he's done, but he's covering a lot. So, all right.
I'm tagging you in.
All right. Yeah. So and when we spoke on the actual, the career fair, I was able to just provide just several other things that I feel also need to be addressed. Just in the protection of like the mental states of people attending the career fair. So I do know I did ask, I believe it was Melinda last time. I was like, are the jobs at the career fair that you're planning to bring in, are they geared towards individuals that have records? And she said not really, but some people still win. And I understand that because that's like some people have very low level offense felonies that they don't get that much attention with employers. However, there's some people that carry dangerous in front of their charge and aggravated assault. And like without people knowing that aggravated assault doesn't even mean you have to have attacked somebody. So there's, several ways. So if a person's coming in and automatically because they're dangerous aggravated assault and or aggravated robbery, something that they have, not even like condemning them on that charge, just like what happens when they have to keep getting rejected or automatically know that they're not going to get this employment. And so that's like a big thing that individuals go through, just on that rejection point, because they start feeling like, okay, well, I'm never going to be able to, do anything, or everybody's going to reject me, or this is always going to, and that can take what was supposed to be a positive event and like have a person spiral. So
okay, I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. So I was just saying, like, that was just like, I was just providing you an example of like how like we're trying to like expand the conversation of like conditionally like assisting in one realm. And so it's not just, okay, we had employers and this happened and we were able to find clothes. Have a great day. You just we're still like helping people that need a lot of help. So just eventually just to get to that part of the conversation, as we like look through like priority actions first.
I'd like to jump in. I'm looking at the agenda and I see venue is one of the first questions that you guys are looking to answer. So we said virtual or in person, or are we saying and?
So
But I thought when we
okay.
did the, oh, no, I'm saying, I just thought that when you all were speaking about the virtual before, that it was still hosting, having a hub to host it for people that may need computers. No?
What I was wondering with COVID, restrictions being relaxed, is it something we might consider doing both? Or is it an option or feasible to think about doing an in-person event, but at the same time for folks who either can't make it, could employers kind of double up, where we're going to have a live event and then maybe they have a representative that's hosting Zoom calls or something like that, either simultaneously or in addition to, and that's a great question for this group. I don't know if that is something we ask the employers what they're comfortable with.
That would be the first question.
And don't mind me, I'm just typing as you guys are discussing, because again, we're in the planning stages of this. And also, if anyone else has any ideas or questions, just feel free to jump in.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
This is Natalie. I was just saying that maybe one of the things that could happen when you look at the need for social distancing and the relaxing of restrictions, maybe we could do a registration, so have a cap for in-person participants and do a pre-registration that would kind of give you a little bit more control over the number of people you have who actually show up, even though we've always had a few extras who come. And then to your point, Dominique, I think one of the things that can be done is to really have good conversation with potential employers who want to participate, so that they understand what our concerns are and what our needs are, to actually ask them those questions. Are they willing to work with specific backgrounds that may be more dangerous, quote unquote, or have aggression attached to them? So I think those are all good points.
Okay. That makes us glad to hear you guys are.
I also want to add, with regards to venue, I think the NC Works Career Center should be an option, but I also think that the Swinburne Center, I know the Wake County Swinburne Center may be an option as well to consider, because they've done this, and they're places that many people are familiar with.
A question I have from past events, how has this been titled? Like, what's it been called, and how deliberate are we in framing this for folks that might have been incarcerated or have issues with background? Or is it, this is a career fair for everyone? Like, what's been the communication piece? If anyone knows or can speak to that, that might be helpful.
Usually with like larger organizations, like you just like your name is going to be the loudest thing on the flyer. And so it's just like it's kind of like if you know flyer, like because this organization works with impacted individuals impacted by justice system, or this works with I don't know, like cancers or something. Like the name is kind of like speaking the direction on the flyer most times. Like I'm not gonna say everybody.
Yeah,
But
and just to add to that, I know in the past, like they've called it resource fair, or sometimes here at the NC Works Career Center for their flyer, they'll put background friendly employers, like it's open for all job seekers, but it'll say background friendly employers.
okay, that's what I was wondering. Is it something that is open to anyone, or and how that criteria is handled? Okay, but it sounds like traditionally it has been for any job seeker, but we really want to get this in front of the audiences we're trying to
Yeah,
specifically support.
yeah, and just as you guys are talking, I'm thinking about it. So maybe we do want to put some language on there that talks about, hey, are you having trouble finding a job due to a background? Come to this event because da 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 da,
And sometimes you don't even have to like fully word it, like utilize like all the verbiage, just saying like, oh, like is your background check giving you a problem? Just be like, have there been like certain hurdles like that have prevented you from gaining employment, kind of thing, just to not have like I don't know, it's like the missing kids kind of sticker feeling when you look at stuff like that.
I'm glad you're saying all this. I'm glad you asked that question, Jeff, because, we know language matters, words matter. And so I like that idea, Dominic. I just wanted to share that I like that idea. There's another way of doing it rather than saying reentry or putting something like that. And the other piece we also need to remember, it's going to be marketed to our target audience. So I guess when we share the information, we'll probably be more intentional, not to say it's not open to others, but we'll make sure our council members and other reentry service providers will ask them to be a part of that that dissemination to make sure we reach the people that we're looking for. Just, like you said, that there will be other people that possibly will participate, if you need a job, you'll go wherever that reentry fair is, but making sure this message gets to the people we want it to get to. So I'm glad you asked that question.
Yeah, that was just I mean, because that was like a conversation, Jeff, I believe I told you about how like when I was on the phone with the councilmen and the senators, how like we even had to we had to send them a memo before we had the meeting just to coach them on their verbiage and like how they describe and speak. And these are people, like you're supposed to know like all this information, but don't. So I think that's like a really big thing. And I would think that's something that to be highlighted when if we start talking to new employers that we have not worked with, that will be interested in working with us on the fair, how they would speak. Because some people just throw like felons or like convicts around like it's nothing. And sometimes hearing that for some people is triggering. So.
Yeah, no, and Dominique, you and I had a good conversation about in not only preparing the applicants or the job seekers for the event, but also, like to your point, preparing the employers, and whether that's a workshop with them or a one page or something that we send them, just, hey, these are some things to keep in mind to help you be successful and whatnot. So thanks for bringing that up.
If I can ask the question, have we, has the council before in putting together something, have you also, in educating them about the verbiage that it is that they want to use and or avoid, have we included them from the point of view of if your organization's name is on this flyer or whatever, what is the language that it is that you would want for us to also make sure, because there are employers, I think we can honestly say there are employers who work with persons who do have backgrounds, but there's also the stigma out there, well, we do, but we don't want to be known as the employer that hires. You know what I mean? It's sort of a double-edged sword. You're trying to get them good, honest, reliable people who want to work and who are probably going to be some of the most dedicated. But at the same token, if they get labeled as something where the phone is ringing off the hook and everything all the time, they don't want that either. And maybe asking about, well, what is the language that is that we could use, that's sort of capturing both sides of it. We want to make sure that we're attracting the right people, but we want to make sure that you're comfortable with what it is that we're saying.
Yeah, I don't think it's in the means of where something new, like a new word needs to be created, because then you have to teach people what the word is and what it means. And so you're gonna miss a chunk of audience during that time where people are learning this new word that you created. However, it's just like you can just like there's sometimes you can just ask people like the common terms not to utilize like in describing somebody that's been incarcerated, like felon, convict, criminal, thug, you know, all like literally everything that Trump used to say on TV. Like those are the things that like you just don't like everything negative you don't say. And some people, I don't like it, but because I'm not a full citizen, I can't vote. This returning citizen thing, because people don't ever return back to all their rights. So it's like some people don't like that either. It just depends. It's like a touchy thing. Like some people are cool with stuff, some people aren't. It's I think it's just more important when you are speaking with people and you know that they've been impacted, just like kind of just being respectful and then even asking them what makes you uncomfortable in conversation. They'll tell you quick.
In terms of the event in the past, has it taken place at a particular time of the year? Do we have a sense, anyone, if this is this is a fall event or obviously we want to avoid.
I think I think a good time to avoid though is once we get closer to Thanksgiving, because most businesses, companies, I mean, well, it just depends, I guess, on the people that are coming. They don't do much of anything around the holidays, those holidays.
Well, I will say on the flip side, though, there are a lot of companies that do have seasonal influx and hiring as you get into the December holidays. So, I mean, it might be.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Some companies, because as soon as I started saying that, I started thinking about like Target and like Walmart.
And so do we anticipate that we will do this in 2021? Is that our goal?
We would like for it to be, but we're still like, just trying to assess all the things we have access to right now.
Okay.
I want to say the other thing you want to consider is the current environment. So COVID is a factor. So later you'll get more shots in the arms for those that will choose. More people will be vaccinated if you're talking in person. That's just going to be something, just keep that in the forefront as far as safety. When you're bringing people together. Yeah.
And do we have a sense from history in terms of the volume of job seekers that attend? And that might be a moving target, but.
So, I mean, in past times, I know at Swinburne, and I'm thinking that might really be a great location for us rather than Tillery, even though like Tillery is central, but Swinburne, I think somebody had already, Lenarda, like saying that they've done it in the past, so, and it's still on the bus line. So I think it'll be a great location because they already have experience with doing this. So the number turnout it depend on the season. And so sometimes they would see 70 job seekers or it could be 40 job seekers and just depending on the climate. And so right now we know that a lot of folks aren't necessarily going back to work to those hospitality jobs and just other industries because of unemployment. And so we might want to take that into consideration of, when would that officially stop and will people want to still return back to work? And I'm saying that because then that could determine the number of job seekers who will actually turn out for the event.
And the flip side of that, Donna, is that our target population will be competing against more people when those checks end. So that's another way of looking at that. So when those unemployment benefits end, then there'll be a huge influx of individuals back into filling those positions that have been vacant.
Yeah. And I was talking, me and Jeff were speaking, and so, and like the goal is, just because there's certain things I was able to acquire, from some business owners, is to, just expand some options, just to see the other lanes of employment that would be, that people would still have the ability to apply for, that isn't like a warehouse position, or, waitress, or kind of, like maintenance job. But I know that part of it's going to be like just a little bit harder at this point, because like you already said, like people are fighting for a lot of positions. But that's like one of the reasons why we wanted to try to see how we would be able to do this as soon as possible, because there's so many people that already need a lot of help. And there's like, I mean, that's everybody right now. I mean, so it's really, it sounds kind of like rude, or like kind of like not honoring others' struggle. I get that as well, but like, some of these people, they just got out, they don't have resources, they don't have help. So it's just like, what is the best manner of, just getting them in front of a door to possibly create that for themselves?
In terms of the COVID concern and getting folks together in large spaces, if it were to be hypothetically, if we were able to pull this off in the fall, this year, if we were looking at, we could, if we're looking at a hybrid event, if it's virtual and in person, we could stagger it, or if we're doing signups or something that does control. I'm not familiar with the Swinburne space. I don't know exactly what that looks like in terms of space and how spread out we could be. But if we're talking under 100 people, and that, I think that's going to fall underneath. I think that's going to fall within the governor's group restrictions, especially if we're talking September, October. So I think in terms of getting people together, my hope is that would work by then.
Yeah, but you're saying like about the sign up though, having that prior to the actual date of the event?
I wonder if we could make like a sign up preferred or recommended, but still take walk-ins the day of. I realize a lot of folks aren't going to necessarily have the means or
Yeah.
to sign up in advance, but if that's something where we know we've got 60 people already pre-registered, hypothetically, then that means maybe we're staggering them at the door when they show up, or directing traffic a little bit more closely than got a very low pre-advance. And maybe that's not the best way. I'm just, of course, just here brainstorming.
No, I mean, I've never been a bouncer at a door, so I don't know.
So if I could jump back in, if it's held at an NC Works Career Center, they will have to register through NC Works. So that will help us to be able to track how many people have registered. And then also, say for instance, if there is an influx of job seekers and one person does get the job and the other person doesn't, it allows them to still have access to the NC Works database, where there's more employers, and they already have that profile set up, they're already registered. And so it's almost like a double win, because we do want folks, if we have an event here at the NC Works Career Center, whether it's Swinburne or Tillery, that they get registered at NC Works. That connects them to jobs.
Would there be a day like that would be available, like a come in and register kind of day, like if they don't have a computer or they need help on how to register?
Yeah, we could definitely do that. We could do it the day before, or we could do it that day of. So, and we could schedule a block, say from like 9 to 10 or 9 to 9:30. You register for the event. You can print out your resume and then go to it.
Yeah, that'll be
Hey,
cool.
Donna, can they register at the online access as well?
Yes.
I mean, the
Yes.
call in, not online, but the call in. Can't they register through the call center?
I'm not 100% sure on that one. I can
They can't do
ask.
Wagner Pizer. I don't think they can do the full enrollment, but they can start with the call center, which gets them, let's look into it. I think the call center gives them easy access for people who don't have internet access.
Mm.
And then for those who do, you could look at just what you were saying, either have a registration event or time block on the same day. And then I think the other thing we have to consider, if we are really talking about doing this in 2021, Swinburne still isn't open. And so when they do open, they may not open at full capacity like some of the other places that have been open. So we don't know what restrictions that might bring. But just to throw it out there, maybe some of the other people on the call may have a community connection, whether it's one of our faith partners or another resource that might be a large enough facility to accommodate. Because I know we were thinking about doing an in-person event, and there were even roadblocks that we hadn't considered. For instance, there are a lot of county facilities that are being used for vaccination sites. And so whereas we could have used some of them previously, those aren't even available. So we might have to think outside the box a little bit.
Good points.
Yeah,
And then
that's a good
Lenarda
point.
had mentioned something, I think everybody has kind of touched on making sure that we get the word out. And I think that's where being intentional about the messaging, but also being intentional about who we get the message to. There are specific agencies that we know people reach out to for support and resources. And I think those should be our go-tos for making sure that the information gets out as early as possible once there is a game plan, that has been confirmed. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Dominique.
Can parole and probation offices be included in that?
Absolutely. They most definitely should be. Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
Federal, state,
they have
detention
the smallest amount of resources there.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Nellie, you said something about thinking outside of the box. Have we done something like have a virtual job fair? And this may sound weird, but I'm just throwing it out there. Will you have people come in to like the NC Works Career Center, but the presenters are on a screen? I'm just coming up with something different, and that may not make any sense, but I'm
does.
thinking about our participants possibly having technology concerns, because I'm thinking about the folk that Donna serves and some of the services we provide. And I know that's not everybody in the same boat, but just making it, it being virtual, socially distanced, but kind of like what we do when we do our legal aid, the numbers will probably be greater. Our legal aid expungement clinics have people to come in. I don't want to get into logistics, but make it virtual, but we have seating here so you can come and sit down and watch what's on the screen. And again, that may not make any sense at all, but it does kind of address some of the concerns, being in different sites. And again, I thought Swinburne will be great, but you made a great point. It's not even open, and we don't know what it's going to be like when they do open. If we have our target deadline or our date being this year, that just may not be an option. However, Tillery may be an option. So just wanted to throw a weird idea out there.
Yeah, and
But that's not that weird, because legal aid kind of does that with their different workshops that they do. Even before COVID, legal aid has a whole laundry list of workshops that they have on recording that people can sit and watch, even with helping with family reunification. So maybe talking with legal aid to figure out how they do some of that logistically, because that could be an option outside the box.
one thing, like we're walking through this right here of like just speaking about messaging. Me and Jeff were speaking about that was one of the reasons why we thought trying to, but we know it's a lot, have some like coaches as well, because some things that especially individuals like that are just being released from incarceration, like confidence is like a huge factor. And so even if it is a virtual interview, that person has to be comfortable and confident and, sure themselves. And, if we're speaking with women that just got out of, prison, there's a large amount of women that did not walk into that facility with confidence, and that whatever small piece they did have is diminished while they're there. And then you have like women like myself that walked in with like the most confidence in the world, and you cracked mine. So it's just like, is there something where we would be able to host like maybe a public, like kind of like just speaking class where people are comfortable speaking around other people, and or got some little tools, like kind of quick trips or quick tips of things to say on the interview to make themselves sound, better.
Dominic, I wanted to say, when you're speaking, just right behind us, I don't know if you've been here to the Tillery Center, but Donna and Natalie can tell you that right behind this building or beside this building, depending on your perspective, is Dress for Success. So maybe that's something we need to probably bring them in
Okay.
on this planning piece.
Yeah, because
So
that's
like
what they
Donna
already.
was saying- Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Donna.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Oh, I was just saying, but you have a really good idea, because maybe the focus could be first do these mini workshops. So you have people set up their account, and then you have these mini workshops that work on fine tuning their resume, interview skills and techniques, how to do it virtually, right? So even if you're confident and you know how to do a face-to-face interview, well, this virtual thing may be strange now. So tips and strategies about how to do it virtually. So you just have this series of small sessions where you could even use incentives to get them there. But you do this series of small workshops like that in preparation for the 2022 big thing. So not that they wouldn't have assistance, because you do these mini workshops to prepare people. They have an NC Works account, which gives them a career or a career coach. It gives them access to the database and assistance in finding right now employment as you prepare for the large resource fair.
Yeah, and I was gonna say something similar. Like, I think because this does sound like a huge, big event, and we do want it to be successful. We want to have a good turnout. And so we may want to consider, similar to what Natalie just mentioned, like having more small events now to get started that leads up to our big event. And so maybe if we do just have something small with like have one employer come out and they can meet with a small group of people who might be ready, and we can prep them ahead of time, and see how that works out. And then we're also building our employer relationship at the same time, because we don't want to have this huge event and then not have people show up, or have a less amount and then not necessarily get hired. So I think if we consider that, then um, that'll be a good thing.
And just to clarify, we don't charge employers for these events, correct?
Correct.
I think there's sense in what's being suggested in terms of a smaller event, and creating some small wins.
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense of like the part of it, like just in realms of like, because we were talking about like, getting prepared, like, what are you gonna wear? Like, so do we just need to get you a Zoom shirt, or you need an outfit? Like, what's what's the MO for that? But even with that, I was telling them, I was like, I don't think it's good just to get a person a Zoom shirt, because that's like tying back into their confidence, like being able to wear whatever business outfit and feel confident in yourself. Yeah, I mean, that would be good. Like, have that training, resume training, how to speak and not get denied before you're hired. Like,
Yeah.
and then maybe like a group class so they could talk to each other. Like what makes you nervous? Because everybody has a different trigger. And so maybe
Sure.
if someone talks about that and they can kind of feel, they'll hear somebody else goes through it. And so they can kind of start feeling like I'm not the only one.
Hey, I see
And
that
then build
Kim.
relationships with employers. Sorry.
Hey, Nellie, I see that Kim, I think the way this conversation is going, and you guys, Donna, stop me, Jeff and Dominique, but I think it's okay. If you guys are all right with people unmuting themselves and just kind of jumping in to say what they got to say, because Kim's got something in the chat. So rather than look at that chat, Kim, if you'll unmute, Kim Stone from IPMW, she's got something to add. I won't even read it. I'll just ask Kim to unmute and share what you were saying.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep.
Speaking of prep sessions, I need one myself. But the point I was making was just, I think that's a great idea. It's just so folks can get comfortable with using it might be a different computer, using a Mac versus an HP or a PC, how to share your screen, share your resume. I've been on Zoom calls where the lighting was just terrible. Somebody was completely in the dark, and just getting comfortable with being present with someone perhaps in an interview or something similar, so you don't feel like a complete idiot like I sometimes do.
That's a great point. So to that, Kim, I'm wondering if we did like a hybrid event, if it was virtual rather, and if the job seekers came into the facility, if it was Swinburne, let's say, and the employer was virtual, that might be the opportunity for us to roam around and provide tech support, confidence boosting, some coaching, last minute stuff. Sure. To help the candidates feel prepared and that there's someone there kind of along the way. And then maybe the employers can be at their location. They don't have to worry about coming in and parking and schlepping things. And that might be a nice way to support both audiences.
Yep, like that too. Thank you.
This is good stuff. And I also do want to point out early on to let you guys know, as we are in this brainstorming phase, that our next employment subcommittee meeting won't be until September, because in July we'll have a summer break for everyone. And I think we all can appreciate that. So with this conversation that we're having, we do need to determine kind of what we're all in agreement to of what our next step will be to get to our big goal of having this career fair.
I think the next step would have to just simply be defining like what the path is to lead towards it, and defining like the classes that need to be addressed, that are kind of vital for assistance, and then still staking down like a timeline for it. Especially if there's like, little like, blocks, and it's just like something a person can like build up and look forward to, then that's becomes like a task as well. So just to, kind of solidify the structure of that, to be consistent.
What would thoughts be on if we did like one or two mini events, like with one or two employers, like we were saying, maybe in the fall, and go, before we get close to the holidays, maybe say October, maybe we do two things or something, or we bring in, 1, 2, 3 employers at each session. And at the same time, we're going to prepare the job seekers and do some of the coaching we're talking about with preparation, with the goal being a larger event in the spring where we're past COVID. January, February for retail isn't usually particularly very busy, but that doesn't mean there aren't going to be employers that are, the new calendar year going to be looking at increasing hiring. Does that sound like a potential compromise of doing something this year, but not something that's going to be overwhelming, or we're going to be concerned about location because of COVID and the fact that we're not going to really have a big meeting again until September.
I'll
What
just
does
say,
everybody else think?
I was going to say, I think it's a great idea. I like that, doing a little bit of something now. You can learn some, I don't know what we'll learn, but I'm sure we can learn something from doing something small. I can't tell you what we're going to learn. But yeah, and then having something small and leading up, phase out, providing the training and all that kind of stuff, or those other additional pieces to lead up to something big in the fall. I think sounds good to me.
Yeah, personally, I think the smaller events leading to a larger one is good for two reasons. One, it gives a little chance for people to see results on both sides of the coin, if you will. It gives you a chance to see, well, how many were we able to get employers secured who committed to one or two jobs, that they would definitely hire somebody for. Maybe they have some types of precluding things or some type of things that they're going to serve as prerequisites for a hire. But if you get the employers on board early on, that gives them a chance to maybe hire someone, maybe to see, this is the type of person that it is that come out of this type of event. Maybe that's something that leads them to commit to either more jobs or coming back for the larger event, either or. But that helps on their side, as well as it helps to start the other people who are participating in it, as far as the clientele, if you would, or the participants, our focus group. They can see, hey, you know what, this actually really worked. I know Joe, and Joe actually got hired in this position and he's doing well. I think this is something I really want to buy into myself.
Love that.
So not to add another layer, but it sounds like another round table, a small round table of employers. We did that right before COVID and got good traction and conversation from some employers who were interested in being more background friendly, but even understanding what that means. So people may have real good intentions, but not understand what it requires. And so that might be another one of those smaller events that can happen that's working to prepare the employers for the event as well. An education piece to them. And we have the support of the talent
Engagement
unit to help with pulling that together, because we know that there are some employers that have a history of working with us at the Career Center that are more background friendly, some who have great success stories and can speak the language to other employers to get them on board.
I'm glad you said that,
But
Natalie,
that
because
might
I
be
was
one of the other pieces.
I was going to say, we get some really good success stories, then I imagine other employers will eventually come on board. So success stories with employers and success stories with our individuals that we serve. So
I think success stories is important as well, because like at the end of the day, with a lot of it, all you're thinking about, some of it, I honestly know is not personal. They think money. And so they're thinking liabilities on that. It just sucks when you're that individual that becomes a liability, allegedly. But I think, why did that just slip my head? I was just thinking there was an idea, like we should do this too with that.
you were talking about the importance of success stories.
Oh, yeah. So the importance of success stories, but at the same time, that with the success stories with this line, especially with donations, are you guys doing the donations for like stuff to happen with this or no?
Do you mean
donations? What are you referring to?
No. I was like speaking. I was like, are you like, because I was like, typically people do events, and then I was like, wait, is there a donation? I was asking, is there a donation attached to this, like with doing different events?
You mean like an incentive to participate for the for our target audience, or you mean some
Just for like when you're, I don't know who all you meet with about like talking about what you're doing in different programs. And so if you tell them stuff and then that's like they donate, I don't know. I was just asking if there's donation stuff that happens. I don't know.
I'm not 100% sure. That's something maybe we could look into, but I'm not sure right now.
Okay.
I guess we get donations from our partners that like masks, and that's probably a bad example because the masks are coming that we get are from Wake County. Um, I don't know what that's a business piece. That would be because we are government, so I don't know what that looks like. That would be something a business piece. I don't know how to answer that one, but I guess we would invite those individuals who choose to bring incentives, if that's what you mean, for those that attend the job fair for the clients, for the participants. Is that what you mean, Dominique?
Yes and no.
Okay.
So yeah.
I guess we can probably, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, we can look into it.
Yeah.
All right, and so we only have a few more minutes, so I want to make sure that we are capturing everything that we discussed, and this has been great conversation. And so just to recap, we said that what we'd like to do at this point now is have a smaller event, maybe 1 to 2 employers. And I just put a number here, 20 job seekers. Of course, we can invite more, but and also prep those job seekers. So maybe if we do figure out who our employers will be, those 1 or 2, and then start talking to the job seekers through our partners who we're working with, our community partners, to see if they have some folks who they know are looking and who are ready for employment. And then that will help build us toward our track and our goal.
Would we be able to meet with them before we set them in front of others?
Yeah, we can do something like that.
Just so like, because I don't know in the realm of like how their employer would be when they got there or what the setup would be or anything like that. But just I think that's gonna be like either like be great or freeze time for like a lot of people.
Yeah, we can do that. And then I think also too, like if we are getting job seekers from our community partners, they will kind of know those folks and make sure that they're prepared ahead of time too, which can kind of cut down on time. So let's see. And so so is there anybody willing to volunteer or who already has an employer in mind that will be willing to attend this event?
I have some people interested in assisting, but it's just gonna look at what the time frame is in their capacity. So those are just like follow-up conversations I have to have.
Okay.
We do have the
good.
list. Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead,
I think Leonard, may have shared of there was a list of employers that I think I'd participated in the past, potentially that I think Leonardo, you'd shared with me. I'm not sure where I got that from.
Donna's managing that list.
Okay. Thank you, whoever sent it to me. I know I have it.
Yes, that was me.
So, I mean, that might also be a
Follow-up
resource.
conversations.
A place to start. Okay. And you as the co-chairs, are you guys willing to have that follow-up conversation?
Sure, I think so.
Okay.
You good with that?
Yeah, we be talking all the time.
Okay, cool.
Tom and I talk like every day.
We talk like every coffee break. That's it.
All right.
Tom's tired of me already.
That's cool.
Hey,
okay.
Donna, you might also ask CJ for the names of the companies that were at the round table. They're probably on your list, but they might be the low-hanging fruit to get started with.
Okay, thanks for that. All right, so I think we have our next step of what we're going to do. And so since the time, September will be here before we know it. So Melinda and I will be in contact with with the co-chairs about the employers, as well as keeping the members of the group updated. And if anyone has any additional ideas in that time frame, don't hesitate to reach out to us and let us know what those things are. Like if you think about, hey, would this work? Or if you have something to consider about what we're doing, don't hesitate to speak up or reach out via email. And then if no one else has anything concerning this matter, we'll move to our announcements. Everybody good? We clear? All right, all right. So just a few announcements. And for those of you who are new with us, we have a legal aid criminal record expungement from No to Yes every first Thursday of the month. And our next event is June 3rd, but the event is full, and I'm glad. So a lot of people have already signed up for that. Our next event for the expungement will be July 5th, and that has 5 openings available. And then we will also, Leonardo, I'm not sure if you're already doing this, but we will send the expungement flyers to you guys so you'll know the dates ahead of time. And then you can sign people up who are in your networks or groups who might be interested.
Hey Donna, one correction. The
Okay.
July expungement clinic is
Mhm.
actually July 1st.
Okay.
I think July 5th is a holiday, but
Oh, it is. Yep.
it's that's why you were thinking about it. But
Oops.
yes, you already have the everyone that's got the meeting invitation. That expungement flyer is already there. So yeah.
Okay, perfect. And then another thing is that we do have a new YouTube page for the Wake LRC. So that'll be the quickest way for you to get updates about the meeting. If you happen to miss a meeting, you can check it out on the YouTube page. Just go to Wake Local Reentry Council. And then our next big Wake LRC meeting will be June 24th, 1 to 2:30 p.m. And that will be on a Thursday as well. And just to reiterate that we will have our next employment committee meeting September 23rd from 2 to 3. But we hope to see you on June 24th. And I guess, does anyone else have any announcement that they'd like to share with the group? Anything you guys have coming up?
I want to add something.
Okay.
Of course, I want to add something. I'd just like to add a reminder, if you guys have folk that have need COVID shots or testing, please encourage them to visit Wake County Government's Human Services website, because you can get all the locations to vaccine sites and testing information. And as you know, we periodically send out something to the council. If we get something specific, we'll share that as well. I think that's the only thing I wanted to share, Donna. Thanks.
Okay. All right. And if there's no other announcements, here is Melinda and I's contact information if you have any questions or concerns. Also, Jeff and Dominique, if you guys want to be included in this for next meeting, I can put your email up here too for folks to reach out to you if you're comfortable with that.
I am.
Okay.
Sure.
All right, cool. So I'll add that. And then also, if you guys receive information about the hospitality event was coming up, it's been canceled now. And there is a link available for folks, I believe, to reach out to the employers directly if they're still interested. So we can send that out to you.
Okay.
All right. Any last words or anything like that? We're going to wrap up 3:01.
Thank you all for the discussion. It's very helpful.
All right.
All right. Okay. Have a good
Have a
afternoon,
good
everyone.
day, y'all.
You too.
Have a good
Bye-bye.
one.
Bye.